We're here at Kulwicki Park in Greenfield, Wisconsin, and this Brooks Pavilion up here houses almost all of the trophies and memorabilia that were inside Alan Kulwicki's house after the plane crash. We're here to meet with Bob Tranastic, who was part of the group who put the pavilion together and went to Alan's house to collect the memorabilia. He's got some pictures that have never been seen before and a pretty cool story about how this place came to be. And that's the sign.
That is the sign.
Good morning.
That stood. Hello, Bob.
How are you doing this morning, John?
I'm doing well.
Good.
This is Mitchell from.
Mitchell, how you doing?
Hi, nice to meet you.
Good to meet you. All right. So what kind of happened here is after Alan was here, after he won the championship, we invited him back to the city of Greenfield. 10,000 people showed up that day to come to the Greenfield High School to see Alan Kulwicki, and it was really quite neat. We had just tons of people there from all over. And I think the most thing that impressed me the most was, this is towards the end of the day, and he says, walk down to the end of the table, and he said, find out how many people are still in line, because he says, I got to fly out of here soon. And he says, I got to get back. Not a problem. So I took a couple of my officers, because I was on the police department at that time, walked down, we counted about 300 some people, and a guy was standing at the very end. He goes, oh, he said, I drove here 3 states just to come and see Alan Kulwicki. And I said, not a problem. I said, he'll try to get you, an autograph for you, but I said, I got to let you know he's got to fly out of here. So about a couple hours had gone by, not knowing at that point Alan had already rescheduled his flight. So at the end of the thing, the guy was standing at the end of the table, I was kind of standing by Alan. The guy was standing with these 2 ladies, and I'm waiting for the guy, and I gave the guy the thumbs up like this, that you made it all the way here for your autograph. And the thing that impressed the heck out of me, he walked up to Alan, all he did is he said, I just want to shake your hand. Didn't want an autograph, didn't want a picture, just wanted to shake his hand. That impressed me the most. For somebody to wait that many hours in line, drive 3 states here just to shake his hand. Well, obviously we know what all happened, later on, April 1st. Plane crash, it all happened. Sat down with the mayor of Greenfield, and I said, we were always proud of Alan. And I was married Jim Besson, which he's gone now too. But we said we were always very proud of Alan. He was always very proud of Greenfield, Wisconsin. We got to do something here for him. This park was called Cold Spring Park. It was much overgrown. There was nothing back here. It was all weeds. There was a ball diamond that was back there, but it was overgrown. You couldn't even see it back there because there were so many weeds and trees here. There was no parking lot really here, a small parking lot. And it was called Cold Spring Park. So we went in front of the Milwaukee County Board to get a name resolution changed to Alan Kulwicki Park. And then we looked for donors to come through and now start raising money to build what we could build here. I was part of the Little League, and I said when Alan came to the high school to do when he came back after winning the championship, he got to meet a lot of the kids from the Greenfield Little League. And a lot of the kids said, boy, I want to be a race driver like you. And Alan looked at a couple of kids and said, I'm not a race driver, I'm an athlete just like you, which impressed us. That drawing there was a conceptual drawing of the park. It's faded now, but that's why we came up with the idea how we were going to build the park with 3 diamonds and 1 diamond up on top here. Well, obviously it took a lot of money to build this. $1.5 million. We sat down with Wimmer Brothers out of Hales Corners. I put together a committee, which we have all the committee members listed on here. And we sat down and said, okay, what are we going to do? Well, we have to raise money. Well, when you start trying to raise money to raise something like this, and you only have $50 to $100, people shy away from you. They're like, yeah, okay, you got $1.5 million project, but if you only got $50 to $100 or $500, yeah, I'm not interested right now. So I beat up on Bob Brooks, and I said, Bob Brooks, I called him up and I said, you lost a son in there also too, and I said, Mark Brooks has died in a plane crash with you. I said, we'd like to name the building Brooks Pavilion. He kind of thought about it. He said, I'll tell you what. I said, I'll tell you, Mr. Brooks, I said, how about donating $500,000 help for this project? Whoa, he said, that's a little bit too much for me. I said, okay. So we went back and forth. He goes, well, I'll tell you what, I'll donate $100,000. I said, oh, that's really great. Thank you. You're so generous. How about $400,000? Well, wait a minute now here. So we kept going back and forth. But finally, he wrote a check for $250,000. Well, now when we went to places to sponsor like Miller and everybody else, we said, we need to build a park here. We have this much raised. Checks started coming in because now you have a base there. People now knew that was going to happen. One of the biggest things that kind of surprised us was we had gone down to Alan's house to bring back a lot of his trophies, to bring back all of his stuff. Inside of one of the file cabinets at his house was a letter from the head person from Ford Motor Company. Congratulated Alan from winning the championship, driving a Ford product. He was very proud of Alan. So I called him, and the guy was like, okay, and I started talking to him on the phone. This sign that you see over here with the Hooters car on it, the first one we had made up because this is our, how many people donated things. We actually had a Ford logo in the very center because we were proud of Ford. Well, as I talked to the gentleman from Ford Motor Company, he said, how did you get my number? And so I found it in Alan's file cabinet, and I said, I saw the letter that you wrote to him. We just thought that Ford Motor Company would be very interested in this project because we want to donate. Just to let you know, I said, drivers die all the time. We can't do that kind of stuff. I said, what? He said, well, I'm telling you, drivers die all the time. I said, whoa, wait a minute here. Drivers don't die tragically like Ellen did. I said, yes, they die. Yeah, we can't be part of this. So they never gave anything to the entire project. So instead, we turned it around, put the Hooters car in there. But one thing that impressed me was General Motors wrote a check.
Really?
And they gave us a check. The check's actually hanging up here. If you walk to the wall over here, you'll see some of the checks that were written here. So it was kind of cool that, you know, we actually got a check from General Motors. Goodwrench wrote a check for $2,100, which was really quite cool. But again, like I said, Ford Motor Company wouldn't give anything towards this thing. And another thing that impressed me too with General Motors was, if you remember GM with Dale Earnhardt, they always did it every year for the dealerships. They did a calendar all about Dale Earnhardt's car and about his racing, pictures about Dale Earnhardt. After the death, they actually did a calendar, and then we took the picture out of it, of Alan and Dale's car together. And that was the first time they ever had a Ford in their calendar, because they were always General Motors. So, but the amazing thing about that picture also too is if you really think about it, Alan's gone, and Dale's gone too. So it's kind of a unique picture. But yeah, we had the original check that Alan had won from the championship is also hanging inside the room here. That's $1 million check. That is the original check.
This one?
Yep. And these are some of the posters that were made up that Dave Cook, Jeannie Barnes, all the people that made up different posters.
Jeannie Barnes.
Through the committee, we had kind of put together a lot of fundraisers that we did, going from car shows, going to different places and raising money. One of the things that we actually created, because a lot of people asked about it, was, I'll walk you back out here again.
Go back here and look at some stuff.
AK sign, the Alan Kulwicki Park sign. It's actually a miniature that was made up of it. And because if you look out on the grounds when you pull into the park, you'll see the real one that used to say Greenfield Park, or used to say Cold Spring Park. So we had it made up into the Alan Kulwicki Park. A gentleman actually donated all of his time to actually hand make these for us, and we actually sold these to the park. I was the one that did all the painting, but he actually made all the wood parts for it, and we actually sold these, and all the proceeds went back to the park so we could help build a park here. And we sold a lot of those AK signs too. Along with this one, we had the AK sign, which is up on top of the building here. When you walk into the building, you'll see the AK sign that came from his shop, sitting up on top. Funny story with that, county supervisors were involved with this also too, because again, it was Milwaukee County Park System. We were building the park, and we didn't tell them about that because they were very leery of what they wanted to do here. Since it was a county park, they wanted to make sure certain things weren't done right. Well, at one particular point, I got a phone call at work, and they said, "What's happening here at the park?" I said, "I'm not sure. I'm standing here in front of the doors." "Oh, yeah, we're putting the new doors in. They're putting the doors in front." "No, I'm looking up at something. What's going on there?" "I don't know what you're talking about." And she kept saying to me on the phone, county supervisor, she said, "What's going in that big hole up on top?" "The AK sign." "When were you going to tell us about this?" "Stand back, look up, surprise, there it is." Because all the fans wanted that sign up there. So, because we had actually gone back down to his shop and brought the sign back here. And when we picked up the sign, if you really looked at the sign, it looked like a huge granite, piece of rock and, big metal. Thing weighs probably about maybe 60, 70 pounds. That's about as much as it weighs because it's all metal.
Really?
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. So a lot of people we took that sign to a lot of different car shows when we were raising money too. And I remember it being one of the car shows, we had the sign on display. And as I was talking about the park and showing them the conceptual drawing, two guys in the background were laughing. And they were kind of saying things out loud. And I said, "Is there a problem back there?" And the one guy said, "Well, yeah, you're trying to tell us this is the real sign." I said, "It is." He goes, "No, it's not." He says, "I'm sure it's a duplicate. Come on up here." The guy walked up here, touched the sign, held on to it, and he said, "Are you kidding? This is actually the real sign?" "Yes, we bought the real sign." And both guys started to tear up. It was like really kind of cool. So Alan had a lot of fans. He had a lot of people that really loved him. And that's why we wanted to build a park here for the Little League, for the kids to enjoy it, for families to enjoy it. and to have all of his trophies and all of his memorabilia here on display. And as you met earlier, the gentleman from the Greenfield Lions Club, they rent it out on weekends, they rent it out during the week, they let people use the park, and the money goes back into the park, plus goes back into their pockets too. The nice thing about it too is the Milwaukee County Park System, a couple of years ago, they've got a lot of parks in the Milwaukee County Park System here, and they started to run out of money to upkeep all these parks. So I sat down with the mayor, the now mayor of Greenfield. We went in front of the Milwaukee County Board and got it turned over to actually the city of Greenfield. So they have a lease on the park right now that they take care of the park, and that's why they cleaned it all out. So you can see the ball lanes back there. The city of Greenfield takes care of it. They cannot come into the building, because the only people that can come into the building is the committee members or the Greenfield Lions people. But the city of Greenfield is not allowed to come in here. They can do repairs on the outside of the building, but the Lions are responsible for everything that's inside the building.
Have to make sure none of the artifacts get messed up or
And
stolen.
a lot of these items that we've got here, a lot of these items are either donated by different people or through Alan's collection also too.
I had heard that whenever people went into his house to get artifacts to bring here, that he had his Winston Cup trophy in the guest room with a sheet over it. Is that true?
Myself and one of the committee members went down to the house. We flew down there, met with Jerry and Alan Kulwicki, and I was expecting to walk into a room in his house because everything was neat in the house. Matter of fact, I stayed in Alan's room that time when we were there for a couple of days. Nothing was touched. And I said to Jerry, I said, I noticed all the aftershave and all of his uniforms are in the closet and everything else. He goes, that's right. We have a cleaner that comes in here, cleans everything, but has to put everything back exactly the way it is. Has to hang everything back exactly the way it was. He said, I want nothing touched. All right, well, we're here to get the trophies. So we're expecting to walk into this immaculate trophy room, you know, because that's the way the house was. So he took us downstairs, we walked off the garage, we walked into a room, opened the door, and we just stood there going. All the trophies were laying on the floor, half of them were falling apart. The Winston Cup trophy was there with a blanket over it. It was just, everything was just laying in rubbles there. I was like, Jerry, really? This is what you know all the trophies are? So we spent a couple of days putting everything back together and cleaning everything up and then loading it in the truck and driving it back to Wisconsin.
They were in the garage, or what room were they in?
It was kind of a room off the garage.
Huh.
So he even had a lawnmower there that sat down in the lower part of the garage and had 4 flat tires on it. And we didn't know because Jerry and Thelma would always go down there for the winter and they'd spend the winter there. And I said to him, so who cuts the grass? Well, we have a company that cuts the grass. I said, well, there's a riding lawnmower down there. I said, do you want us to pump up the tires and move it because it's kind of in the way of everything? Nope. When Alan won that from one of the pole positions, he got that as a gift. That's exactly where it stays. I said, but it's got flat tires. That's exactly where it stays. So that lawnmower just sat just right there.
I think Paul Andrews has that lawnmower now.
So Jerry he was a great guy, and like Jerry and like Alan, if you ever met either one of the two, either they liked you or they didn't like you. If you rubbed them the wrong side, you weren't their friend for long. But if you were on the right side, you were their friend forever. So, and that's why we didn't push a lot of things with Jerry Kulwicki, because it was like he had a certain side about himself that don't touch this, don't touch that, don't do this. And when we were doing the park and selling all these items, he gave me authorization to okay a lot of items. So if people would come up and say, well, we want to sell this, we want to make this and sell them, and proceeds go to the park. Well, I'd have to find out how much is going to the person that made the product, how much is coming to the park, and how much are they getting off a profit. And if there was a profit there, we'd turn it down. And it would be like, yep, no, it's either 100% comes to the park or otherwise we don't back the product. And so there are a lot of things like that. I like the posters, like the Dave Cook poster and the Jeannie Barnes poster that you saw earlier.
Now, how many years after '92 was it? Like, what year was it that you went down there to get his? It was
items? Short. It was probably about a year right after his dad had passed away.
Okay, so they would go down to the house sometimes, but it sat vacant most of the time.
Because we wanted to start this project right away. Mayor Jim Besson at the time, which was mayor of Greenfield, knew Alan also too, and he was very proud of Alan. So he wanted to make sure we got this project up and running very quickly. One of the trophies that Jerry Kulwicki did not like was the Heinz ketchup bottle.
He didn't like that one?
No.
Why?
Because it's a ketchup bottle. And if you know anything about the trophy was, if you start at the back of the track, the pack, it caught up all the way to the front, you catched up to the front and won the trophy. So we always thought it was a unique trophy. It was a catch-up trophy. So we did have the Wins Cup trophy here at one time, and it was actually on display, but now that's been gone down south at the museum down there. And Alan Kulwicki had donated the trophy down there to stay down there. We did have the entire trophy here at one particular time.
So the NASCAR Hall of Fame has that now?
Exactly, yeah.
How many fire suits were in there whenever you...
I'm sorry, pardon?
How many fire suits did he have in the closet whenever you were in there?
Geez, I'd have to think about that. I'm not even sure. So, have you ever seen a promotional piece that Hooters ever did? Ever seen one?
Possibly. So that trophy right there is that one.
This was the promo piece that actually Hooters Restaurant put out when they were doing with Ellen. There's all the different pictures of it in there. Now, the funny thing about it too is a lot of people after the crash actually hated Hooters because the car was pulled off the track and it wasn't going to be racing anymore. And a lot of people got very upset with Hooters Restaurant and said, you know, why? You know, the car should still be out there. But when Bob Brooks came down here, he met me here one night, he flew in here, and we had the park pretty much opened up. We sat down here talking about it, and I mentioned that about it. I said, you know, a lot of people hated Hooters because you pulled the car off. He goes, just so you know, nobody knows this story, but he said, I didn't pull the car off the track. I said, what? He said, I actually paid the team another whole year's salary just to keep racing. I said, who pulled the car off the track? Jerry Kulwicki. His father didn't want the car on the track anymore. So a lot of people actually hated Hooters Restaurant for no reason. You know, Bob Brooks actually wanted to keep it up there.
What, because they didn't race at Bristol that weekend? Because they came back with Jimmy Hensley in a different car.
Yeah.
What was the story with Hooters wanting to go with, they wanted Loy Allen in the car, and Allen had said that he wanted Jimmy Hensley in the car, and so they ended up not. That's why Hooters left the team, from my understanding.
Right. Yeah, true. But,
Did you ever talk to him about that?
Again, a lot of that was Jerry Kulwicki's decisions too. You know, and I can understand that. You know, you don't want to see his son was in that race car going around the track. Your son just died in a plane crash. You don't want to see that car going around the track. So I can understand why he wanted it off. But yet the story should have been out there. Who actually pulled the car off the track? So these are some of the pictures that when we kind of mentioned to you about the trophies were in disarray when we were at the house. And those pictures when we brought him back to the high school. But I'm going to just show you one quick picture here. There is his house. There we are with Jerry Kulwicki and Alan Kulwicki. Like I said, nothing was touched. Anything that was moved had to be put back again, the exact place it was. Jerry and Thelma just lived there. That's all they did. As we'll get you a picture of the trophy room. They always like this picture up here because that was Ellen with all the women that would chase after him, and they had that hanging in the living room. They said we just love that picture. Plus in the picture, trying to look again. Oh, all the women have keys, which are keys to his house. So,
Who painted that for him?
yeah, I'm not sure who the artist was, but that was all the different bedrooms there. There was a trophy room. There was. Everything just laying on the floor.
Looks like a laundry room.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's just the
Wins Cup
trophy on the
trophy.
table. And that's how it was exactly.
That we
how it
brought
was
out of the room. We put it on the table in the living room.
left. Where was this sitting in that?
There it is. That's just how the room looked. So that's what I'm saying. The house was immaculate. Everything couldn't be touched. Everything was in its proper place. But yet the trophies were just thrown in the back room.
Is that the champion trophy right there?
Yep.
So it didn't have a sheet over it, or did you pull it off?
We pulled it all off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because when we came in, everything was covered with white cloths over everything. But yeah, we were expecting everything to be on shelves, being all lined up, being in a nice order. So as we loaded everything up, because we went down with a U-Haul truck and actually loaded everything up and got out of there.
Now where was that at? The shop pictures.
But we had gone down to Jeff Bodine's shop to meet with Jeff Bodine. Jeff actually had one of the Hooters cars there, and he said, "I'll tell you what, I'll donate the shell of the car. You can bring it back to the park." Well, the gentleman that I went down there, part of the committee, said, "What a great idea. How are we going to get that back home?" "Oh, we'll tie it to the top of the U-Haul truck. We got to go through the mountains. We got to go through everything, and also too, where are we going to put it in the building?"
Yeah.
So we actually went to 5-star. So what he gave us was the decal, because he still had the decal at his shop on the hood. So we went to 5-star, which actually did a lot of the work, and they donated the front end of the car. They made the car and they said, "We're going to donate that so you can put that in the park."
So you ended up not taking the body?
We ended up not taking the body, yeah.
Dang.
There's no way for us to get it all the way home. There's just pictures with us with Jeff Bodine. We were getting him a little AK sign.
So Jeff was pleasant to work with in that
Oh,
process?
yeah, he was very, very super nice guy.
Did he donate the sign out front too?
The sign that was up on top?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was in Alan's shop. So that's why he called us. He said, "Come on down and take the sign with us." And that's why when we went there, we said to Jeff, we said, we had saw pictures of the sign before. We said, "Well, we want to get the sign. So what do we got to get, like a forklift or a crane there?" He goes, "No." I said, "All you need is 2 men and a boy." So what? He said, "It only weighs about 50, 60 pounds. What? So we went over there. I was like, "Yeah, it's all lightweight aluminum."
Was there any significance to those cars or just stuff that was in there? So that's a 98 Taurus. So this must have been like late 97.
Right, exactly.
Was that a chassis Alan drove or you just take pictures?
No, that was just one of Jeff's cars. No.
Okay.
We were just taking pictures of.
Wow. We have not done a video inside that particular shop yet, but it seems like you might have some really good pictures to use for that.
Now the pictures here are basically everything that we had kind of brought in back here. All the different helmets, the different uniforms, the different trophies. As you'll see everything in here. Like I said, if you've seen his closet, that was his closet. Everything had to be hanging exactly the way it was. Jerry actually gave us the one uniform, says you can take it with you, which is the one that's inside there.
This one, was that like the first one? Because
That
it's
was
very
an earlier one, right? And I gotta say, I gotta get a lot of help. Thank yous to John Jeffords' father, Terry Jeffords, because they always ran the Racing Roundup show. And while we were building the park, Jimmy Trado, which is the announcer there too, they invited us down to the show to be able to talk about the Alan Kulwicki Park and the progress that's going on and help raise money for it too. So Terry Jeffords was very, very helpful in that, and also too.
Oh, that's the Hendrick Museum.
So the items that
Still looks the
ended
same.
up at the Hall of Fame that Thelma donated, did all that come to Milwaukee first, then
Yep.
go to,
Yep.
some went to North Carolina, some went to Milwaukee Historical Society, some is here, okay. So Thelma realized she was in ill health.
Yeah.
She wants this stuff. She had you guys take it all away before she passed, right?
Everything that went down there.
Oh, that's Ricky Red's
Or
shop.
did you have to wait until she passed?
No, it went well. She was still alive.
Okay,
trying
so
to find
this was its first destination.
Yeah, this was the first destination.
Then
Everything
it
that,
got, some of it went back to North Carolina.
here's everything that went to North Carolina. The Windscup Trophy. That's everything that went down
Oh,
there.
here it is in writing.
Yeah.
Okay, I wondered how the transition of all the stuff left her home.
Yeah. And see, at the same time, you got the museum downtown. It's also got the Alan Kulwicki thing down there also too.
Milwaukee Historical
Exactly. The same member at that time was starting to give them stuff too. And I got a hold of him and I said, "What did you give them so far?" Because one of the helmets is gone. We don't know whatever happened to it. This was a trophy that never came back either. And I said, "First of all, did you document what they took and when it's going to come back?" "Well, they told me they'll just bring it back after 6 months." It's been a year. We haven't seen this. And I called the one coordinator down there one time. He met with me here. He said, "Well, I'll make sure some of the stuff comes back." "What do you mean, make sure?" "We want it to come back. That's why this park was built for that." So Some of it came back, some of it didn't. But the whole idea was, it was supposed to stay here in the park. That's why we put all the time and the effort into building this park.
Oh, that's complete.
Thelma Kulwicki used to hand those out all the time. And Jerry Kulwicki hated that card.
Why?
Champion, he wasn't a champion yet. And if you look at the card, it says champions.
Oh.
Yeah, Davey was not a champion yet. So Jerry
Yeah,
let her hand it
it's-
out under protest, but Jerry did not like her handing those out.
Yeah, most fans at that time will recognize they both had
Right.
tragic.
Exactly, yeah.
We lost them tragically in the same summer of '93 in aviation accidents. Oh, I think I know what that is.
Yeah, that was a walk-run.
Yeah, here's where I'll jump in. My dad, myself, and Dennis Zarneska were
Dennis Zarneska, yeah.
sitting around the pool, and we had heard rumor that monies were needed to dedicate a park to Alan. And we strategized a couple of special events, and I was heavily involved in some athletic competitions at the time and suggested we try a fun run walk.
General Motors brought the car down.
Where's the trailer? Is there a trailer for that car in the picture? Because we might.
No, the trailer's not there. But it's funny again. General Motors brought the car down.
It was the biggest NASCAR sanctioned race at the Milwaukee Mile. So I forget if it was Saturday or Sunday morning, but we raised over $80,000 over 1995, 96. Oh, there's and
Jerry and I had to start that race off, and we had to be grand marshals in the car going around the track. And if you remember, that Alan always had a comb case built right into the car. So when he was done racing, when he would win a race, he'd take his helmet off, get that comb on there, and comb his hair so he'd look good for photographs. So as we're going around the track, we're ready to start the race. We're going around turn 1, around turn 3, getting into turn 3. As we're just coming out of turn 3, getting into turn 4, getting by the grandstands, Jerry grabs his comb out. He says, I said, what are you doing? Well, I gotta look good for everybody. I said, now I know where Alan got that from. Oh yeah.
So he didn't do that to be funny. He was doing it.
He was doing that because he had to look good for all the people as they drove by again.
is that Jim Patterson?
That's Jim Patterson, yeah.
It's a good. His McDonald's created a Kulwicki Corner, if I recall.
Kulwicki Corner.
That was fun.
There we are with the sign, yeah. That's all it took to lift it, 3 guys. That was the construction of the park when we started it. When we brought Alan back after he won the championship, we took him to which is now the Pfizer Forum, but at that time it was the arena down there. And the Milwaukee Bucks wanted to honor him. So we were up in one of the skyboxes because one of my friends had a skybox. We were up in the skybox, and we were there with Terry, your dad, Thelma Kulwicki, Jerry Kulwicki, Mayor Jim Besson, myself, my wife, and Thelma Kulwicki. And we're all sitting there, and Alan's sitting across from me. He's going, I don't want to come tomorrow. I said, what do you mean you don't want to come? Nobody's going to show up. Alan, tons of people are going to show up. No, nobody's going to show up. Nobody's going to come there. I said, Alan, I'll tell you right now, we had to tell people that wanted to camp out on the school grounds that they can't camp there. You're turning people away? No, we just told them they can't camp out on the school grounds. They can camp out on the campgrounds, but they can't do it on the school grounds. So as we're talking, well, as you're sitting in the sky boxes, there's like a glass partition between each box. Well, some guy in the thing over here is rapping on the window. So I get up and I walk over there and I went, hi, can I help? He looks around, he goes, is that Alan Kulwicki? I said, yes, it is. Oh, I want to meet him. I turn around, Alan, there you go. See, somebody knows you're here. Big smile on Alan's face. He walks up to the guy. He shakes the guy's hand. The guy said maybe a couple words. He looks around Alan and goes, is that Mayor Jim Besson? That's the guy I always really wanted to meet. And Jerry comes back, or Alan comes back, sits in front of me, goes, I'm not coming tomorrow. No. And about 10,000 people showed up the next day.
Yeah.
So I was like,
He was hoping for 37, if I remember the number.
37.
Yeah, for some reason he was just so worried about a poor turnout that
Yeah.
I'm just not big enough to draw. I'm not worthy of a special event. This is going to, it's going to be a big disappointment. Don't get excited. And yeah.
And if you know, Alan always loved the root beer, A&W root beer float. So I went up to one of the A&W stands here before we brought him back to the high school. And I said to the guy, can I buy one of those glass mugs? Oh, no, we don't sell those here. I said, because we're bringing Alan Kulwicki back, and that was his favorite, was A&W root beer. Here, take it, and I'll give you all the stuff to go with it. You didn't tell him it's from us. So as we're sitting there, and Alan's doing autographs and doing all this stuff, I made up a root beer, and I put it in front of him. Oh. And he looked up and smiled, and he goes, you don't miss a thing, do you? I'm like, nope. I said, I know you always like root beer floats. See, that's where we had the Wins Cup trophy, was right in the front. Now the floor at that particular point, when the building was built, was checkered. The Lions want to hopefully put it back to that.
What happened?
The last Lions member that was part of this thing didn't want to maintain and take care of the floor like he should have, and he put this floor and had them put this floor in so it would be easier for maintenance. But this Lions member is very upset about it, and he wants to have it back to the checkered floor.
So I guess this is kind of the stand-in for the room that never was. It's really interesting doing all this. We've never done a hometown video about somebody who's not alive anymore to tell us themselves, and it's kind of interesting that this video is almost the most in-depth one that we have ever done through assembling other people. And I don't know, it's very interesting how that works. What is on his head?
There's some kind of raising, what do you call it, going on there, razzing.
I was wondering what his actual favorite number was without having a sponsor influence or something. This go-kart has a 7 on it.
Yeah.
I have 7 on it, right?
And I would imagine when you're karting, you can put whatever the heck you want on there because nobody's stopping you from it.
So, yeah. That's probably 69. Father Gruba mentions he got a go-kart for Christmas in 69.
That says April 70.
70, okay.
And this is May of 71. Maybe that was his first win or something, is why they took that picture, I don't know. But that would have been after having a go-kart for a year and a half. Rookie of the Year, 1975. This was a kart trophy that the plaque fell off of. What does it say? WKA Grand National 72 AMRDSR LT second place.
WK is World Karting Association.
We had a reporter come down to City Hall one time because the mayor of Greenfield flew the flag after the crash. He flew the flag at half staff, and he just wanted to do it at City Hall. Well, a bunch of businesses around Greenfield did the same thing. So the mayor called me up and he said, there's a reporter from the news channel wants to meet with us at my office. So I go down to City Hall, and the reporter walked in and said, why are you guys lowering the flag? I said, well, because Alan was proud of Greenfield and else, but it only goes to a political position or something that's a high standard.
Military.
You don't do that, you don't do it for that. And I looked at it and I said, really? And he said, yeah. I said, all he was a race driver.
No.
So the mayor looked at the reporter and he said, can I ask you a question? Yeah. He says, do you know the protocol how to raise and lower the flag? No. You lower it, you raise it, you lower it, and then you bring it up. And the reporter goes, I didn't know that. And he said, well, then guess what? You have no way to deny this because you don't even know how to raise and lower the flag. And I finally looked at the reporter and I said, let me ask you another question. Maybe he wasn't a war hero or he wasn't a politician, but how many drivers honored the United States Army and all the veterans with having his car painted that way? Closed up his folder and said, I'm out of here.
Yeah, check it out. I never put 2 and 2 together. So this is Father Gruba's book in the appendix.
Oh, Father Gruba, yeah.
Every year of Alan's finishes and starts and finishes and what races he did. So 70 started in go-karts. So this was, you said, was what year?
April 70.
So there it is. That's the first kart he got for Christmas. as noted in Father Gruba's book. But in Wisconsin, you don't put your go-kart in the garage on Christmas. You have to bring it in the basement so you don't freeze your toes off.
Right.
So there's a big grin on Alan with his very first racing go-kart. And I mentioned his kart buddy was Doug Mayer.
Right.
They raced go-karts quite a bit back in the 70s. And yeah, so he sets a junior reed track record as a rookie his first year. Then in 71, is that 71?
Yep.
I can't quite see that. Okay. But then in 72, Broadhead Raceway, Broadway, Wisconsin, senior reed second in Grand Nationals. You just read that, and it.
Yep, that's second place.
There's the trophy he won in 1972 at Broadhead, which was very competitive track at the time.
That must be the nameplate from his desk.
Yeah.
See if that's in this picture.
So Alan's last
And maybe it right there.
junior and senior year.
He's got a toy helicopter.
Then the 72 fall comes and school starts racing.
What is this license plate from? That bead rolled? Was that something of Alan's or something?
That was from in his car. Yeah, we got that out of, Jeff Bodine gave us that. It was in the back of the car.
So that, in the back of the car?
It was in the back, just sitting on a shelf. When we left there, he gave us that plate too.
It looks like a license plate that would have been on his car. I thought it may have been some cover or something inside the car, but if it was a cover, it would have 4 holes.
They probably had
Too.
it mounted to something, I'm not sure, but at the time when we were down there, it was sitting there, we kind of saw it, and he said, "We'll take it with you."
Maybe that was in the front of his company car or the team van or something. I think Ford gave them vehicles to use.
I like to picture it on his go-kart, eh?
Yeah, it's cool. I was gonna mention Mitchell. Someday I want to get a plaque out there. I still want to call the Historical Society and find out. I know they had a big, what would you call it, blow up of that at the Kulwicki, at their Milwaukee Historical Society, that old bank where they put up the Kulwicki display. It had to be 6 feet tall up on a wall. So, and it was high quality, so somebody had the skills to scan that, probably the Historical Society, and blow it up without it getting grainy. I wonder if they've scanned the others as well.
I wonder,
There's these three. Alan's at a mall car show, sitting in someone else's go-kart, but yeah, that's where Alan got his start. What would Dousman be, about 45 minutes?
And race go-karts with Robin Elk.
45 minutes west of here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you read the little captions I put at the bottom or not, but I said at one point that this filming was part of a larger video filming that we did of the entire hometown history tour of Alan Kulwicki. We went around all these places with John Jeffords, like Alan's elementary school, his high school, houses he grew up in, grandparents' house, shops he worked out of. Spent an entire day going through all these places, and this was one of them. And I thought I really wanted to have the whole hometown history tour video posted on his birthday, which is today. Technically, as I'm recording this, it's tomorrow, but when this video goes live, it'll be December 14th, which is Alan's birthday. I wanted to do that, wasn't ready. Probably a bit of procrastination on my part because I wanted to do a really, really good job and I just never started. But I also kind of thought, well, this pavilion doesn't pertain to Alan's upbringing. It wasn't there when he was getting started. Honestly, we have so much footage that if I included all of this in that video would be 3 hours long. It's really cool. We got into the schools, both of them. Like, stuff deeper than any hometown history tour we've done with somebody who's alive. And I'm really proud of that. I can't wait for you guys to see it. I can't wait for me to see it, because I still have to make it. If you like history, if you want to help see it grow, if you want to support what we do, it doesn't cost you anything to hit subscribe button, leave a comment, speak up, say something, anything. I think it helps. at least tell me who you are, how you found us, and what you like to see, and see if I'll answer you. I probably will, but you can test me. And I don't know why I place a particular amount of importance on doing things about Alan's history, because his story is so incredible, and he does not have any living relatives to really carry his legacy. I just think that's the worst thing ever. Is by no accounts should what he did ever be able to be done, and he did it, and then it was taken from him just like that. And I think it would be a real shame if that story was not, if it was not utilized to inspire people, normal people, people from broken homes or disconnected families, or all of the things that his story has in common with maybe your story, that you could do something too. I just think it's, how are we supposed to know what we're capable of if we don't know who somebody who had a similar background to us made it? There is no magic wand that comes down from the sky and says, you will be successful, but not you. It's attainable, and stories like Alan's are proof that you can do it.
If I've been an underdog, or if I've been an example to a lot of the little guys out there, then I'm proud to fill that role. There's a lot of short track drivers and guys in Busch Grand National Racing, and people all across the country coming into the sport, making it bigger and better day by day. And hopefully, some of them will look at it and say, well, if he did it, maybe I can do it too. And, I hope I continue to be an example in the future, a good example.